From Kanye West flipping out on a radio show host for telling him how to run his business.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers.
To Mike Tyson going off on a reporter for not giving him the respect he deserves.
Oh, that was a piece of you. That was a piece of shit. You know, we're doing live TV. Man, I don't care. What are you gonna do?
These are 10 times Celebrities Destroyed talk show hosts. We have to start things off with Jon Stewart because not only has he hosted a handful of daily shows throughout his career, but his ability to do public commentary and mix it with witty humor makes him a tough competitor when placed in a debate. This was perfectly showcased when he was invited to be a guest on the CNN debate show, Crossfire. Despite the somewhat serious nature of the whole show, Jon had everyone in the audience cracking up by throwing jokes left and right.
I also asked him, you know, where you in Cambodia, but I didn't really care because I don't care because I think it's stupid.
And he didn't waste the opportunity to tell both of the hosts what he thought about the show.
Do a debate would be great, but that's like saying pro wrestling is a show about athletic competition.
He also went on to mention why he couldn't take any of them seriously, since it was extremely easy to make fun of how they looked.
How old are you?
35.
And you wear a bow tie.
Yeah, I do. I do.
So this is...
No, I know.
So
You're right. No, let me just go. No, come on.
And listen, I'm not suggesting that you're not a smart guy, because those are not easy to tie. But the thing is that you're doing theater.
It's clear that his comments really got to both hosts, since they constantly kept trying to cut him off by going to commercials. But Anderson wasn't over yet, since he continued to sabotage the show by refusing to answer their absurd questions.
Tell us, what do you think of the Bill O'Reilly vibrator story?
No. I'm sorry? I don't.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
Let me change the subject then.
Where's your moral outrage on this?
I don't have any.
I know.
Which candidate do you suppose would provide you better material?
I'm sorry?
Which candidate do you suppose would provide you better material if he won?
Mr. T. I think he'd be the funniest.
He even followed it up with a final jab at the show.
Would provide you better material, do you suppose?
I don't really know. That's kind of not how we look at it. We look at the absurdity of this system provides us the most material, and that is best served by sort of the theater of it all, you know, which, by the way, thank you both.
Just like John Anderson, Joan Rivers is another talk show host who fired back when it was her time to be a guest. After releasing her book, Diary of a Mad Diva, Rivers was invited to appear at CNN's newsroom to discuss some of the topics she talked about in the book. However, the host took it as an opportunity to make some rather hateful comments about her.
Even with your fashion critiquing, while it's very mean in some ways, people can't wait to hear what you have to say. Really? It's not mean?
It's not mean. I tell the truth. I'm sure I say the same things that all your viewers say to their friends sitting next to them on the couch.
It didn't take long for the comedian to realize that she was being attacked when the host began to mention her fashion choices.
You know, this whole interview is becoming a defensive interview.
No!
Are you wearing leather shoes?
Yeah,
shut up.
I'm talking...
You know what I mean? I don't want to hear. You're wearing fur. You're wearing leather shoes.
I'm not an activist, but I'm saying
You're eating chicken.
Yeah.
You're eating meat. I don't want to hear this nonsense.
After confronting her for a while, she decided that the healthiest way to deal with the situation was to walk away from it, literally.
Stop it with, and you do this, and you're mean, and you're that. You are not the one to interview a person who does humor. Sorry.
Are we serious?
Just like Joan Rivers, Kanye West also had to go off on a host for trying to tell him how to run his business. This happened back in 2013 when Kanye went to the radio station Shade 45 to do a segment with Sway Calloway and discuss what was happening with the rapper, as well as the current state of music. At the time, Kanye was having legal troubles with Nike for disputes over missing royalties and the design they were making for his signature shoe. So Sway thought it was a good idea to ask about the situation, and even went as far as to try and give Kanye some advice about how to deal with the situation, but the rapper didn't take kindly to this.
Why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Kanye,
I've been doing this more than you.
Doing what?
You ain't got.
Come on, chill out.
You
bro.
ain't got the answers.
Kanye,
you ain't got the answers.
Bro, I'm asking you.
You
a
ain't
question.
been doing the education.
Despite trying to calm Kanye down, things just kept on escalating since he didn't want to hear anything from someone whose brand has absolutely no impact.
You don't have the answers though.
Calm down.
Because you trying to give me advice about something. You ain't got the answer. You ain't spent $13 million of your own money trying to empower yourself.
Yes, but I spent hundreds of thousands and putting out clothing lines at a smaller degree.
All I'm asking you,
and it ain't no Ralph though. It ain't Ralph
but
level.
Let me ask you this. I'm asking
What's the
you,
name of your clothing line? We don't know.
Now this next host is lucky that he got away unscathed after he disrespected the baddest man on the planet. With a record of 50 wins and only 7 losses, with 44 being by knockout, Mike Tyson is someone you don't want to get on the wrong side of, unless you want to suffer the consequences. But this Canadian reporter discovered this the hard way when Mike dropped by for a quick interview while he was visiting Toronto. Things seemed to be going well at first, with Mike talking about his time in the city so far.
This is the first time probably in the history of Toronto where the mayor is bigger than the whole city. You know, he's the biggest celebrity than everybody in the city. Everybody wants to see the mayor.
But things took a turn when the host of the show mentioned the fact that Mike had been convicted of sexual crimes in the past, so the boxer had to let him know he shouldn't be talking about that.
Some of your critics would say, you know, there's a race for mayor. We know you were convicted because this could hurt his campaign. How would you respond to that? Hey, I don't know who said that. You're the only one I heard say that. You know what I mean? And I don't have no comment to that, you know, because it's negative and you're being negative. And I met the mayor, right, and nothing they can do about it.
Despite Mike's promoter trying to clear the air, he was already in fighting mode and let out a flurry of insults at the host to let him know what he really thought about him.
Life, highs and lows. It's so interesting that you come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of shit. Hey, with that comment. Come on. No, that was a piece of you. That was a piece of shit. You know, we're doing live TV. Man, I don't care.
Unlike Mike Tyson, Anne Hathaway had a much more polite reaction when destroying a talk show host for making inappropriate comments about a topic she wanted to leave behind her. Presenter Matt Lauer has gotten in a lot of trouble over the length of his career as a talk show host for always acting out of line whenever he was tasked to interview female celebrities. And this was no exception when Anne Hathaway was a guest for the Today Show to promote Les Miserables. However, Lauer wasted no time in talking about an unfortunate wardrobe malfunction the actress suffered during the premiere for the movie.
Seen a lot of you lately.
Sorry about that.
You were.
I'd be happy to stay home, but the film.
Let's just get it out of the way. You had a little wardrobe malfunction the other night. What's the lesson learned from something like that, other than that you keep smiling, which you always do?
Despite the initial shock from the questioning, Hathaway managed to maintain her composure and redirected the question professionally, going on to say that she was disappointed at how the media usually handles these types of situations.
It kind of made me sad on 2 accounts. One was that I was very sad that we live in an age when someone takes a picture of another person in a vulnerable moment and rather than delete it and do the decent thing, sells it. And I'm sorry that we live in a culture that commodifies sexuality of unwilling participants, which brings us back to Les Mis.
Going to the other side of the pond, the UK has also had its fair share of conflicts between guests and talk show hosts, but none have been as memorable as the time the Bee Gees had to walk off during an interview with Clive Anderson. Back in 1997, the 3 brothers went on stage for the BBC's All Talk show to promote their upcoming album.
Next guests, they are Barry, Robin and Morris, the Bee Gees.
It seemed like things were going well at first, with the host talking with them about their careers, but he got a bit too comfortable and started to make fun of their music with sarcastic remarks.
Before we became the Bee Gees, we were late tossers.
Yes.
Which we thought was...
You'll always be late tossers to me, but I don't know.
That's why we're here. And that's why you had us on the show.
Yeah.
Despite their best efforts at enduring Anderson's cracks about them, 2 of the brothers started to get tired of it.
But you had one very good single on your own there, Saved by the Bell. That was a good one. Do you feel, no, I don't need those other 2, I can knock out something like that?
There was a lot of ego problems at the time, and I can't even remember
we
why.
had one at the same time called Don't Forget to Remember, which was
I've forgotten that one. But
and they sent their message across by leaving the set when they couldn't take it anymore, all while the hosts realized that they weren't coming back.
In fact, I might just leave.
Yeah. Oh, I've never had anyone walk out before, but...
well, we are a tosser, pal.
So anyway...
everybody.
This is a setup.
Oh, well, I guess I better join them.
Well, you could stay and just...
Well, I'd love to, but I don't do impressions.
Yeah.
As for Kevin Hart, he's no stranger to going off at people to get a reaction from the audience. But his interactions with Stephen A. Smith, whenever they're both on the set, have gone from just friendly banter to straight up bullying. One of the craziest times this has happened was when Kevin showed up during an episode of ESPN's First Take. During one of the segments, Kevin took over the show and had to shut Smith down when he tried to disrespect him.
I'm trying to figure out...
I want you to lower your voice. Lower your voice. You're not talking to her. You're gonna give me the respect that I deserve. Don't talk to me like I'm a man.
As the show kept going, the host tried to make fun of Kevin by saying that he was more famous than him with backhanded compliments.
Walk down the street and people like, oh, that's Kevin. Hey, what's up? While me, I'm bombarded. I'm suffocated. You understand what I'm saying? I have no peace of mind. People might walk up to you occasionally and they might want to just take a picture with you and say, congratulations, great work. With me, they want to debate.
However, he didn't expect that Kevin was ready to fire back and destroy him in a matter of seconds.
Hey, you're lying. Nobody comes up to you. Okay? Stephen A. Smith does not have one fan. Not one. There's never been a request for a picture. There's never been a request for a debate. You are you're snap finger famous. That's the guy. What's the guy that's on what's the guy that's on the thing, on the ESPN thing? That's what they do.
In the case of Matthew McConaughey, he had to shut down a talk show host before she got the chance to derail his possibility to run in the political scene. All the hosts from The View are widely known for trying to get reactions from their guests whenever there are sensitive topics in play, one of them being Joy Behar, who can be considered as the most confrontational host in the group. While promoting his children's book, Just Because, the actor went on the show, thinking that it would be a calm experience with some friendly chatter between the hosts. But Behar had different plans, and started by trying to use his friendship with tennis player Novak Djokovic against him.
Anyway, yeah, I was happy to be in his box. Got to sit behind his parents, which was really awesome to see them when he brings them up and where they started.
I believe
an anti-vaxxer?
I believe so, yeah.
At the time, there were rumors about McConaughey having plans to run for Texas governor, so it was a terrible move when she went on to ask some compromising questions about his possible political career, forcing him to shut her down.
Do you think he would get elected in Texas being anti-gun?
Do I think I could get elected in Texas being anti-gun? One thing about if me in politics is to give you a direct statement right there is me playing a game that I'm not interested in playing. To give you a direct statement right there.
But what happens when it's the guest who takes control of the show after the host slips, while making inappropriate suggestions? This was exactly the case when Cher was interviewed by David Letterman. This was supposed to be a huge moment for the show, since fans had wanted to see her on the show for years. However, things started off on the left foot when Letterman began complimenting Cher over her perfume in a very creepy way.
You smell terrific. You really smell great. Do you mind if I ask you? I mean, I knew you'd smell nice, but you smell.
Oh, you mean?
Yeah, what is the, can you mention the scent or would you rather not?
Which led to her criticizing his hosting skills.
Is this as good as it gets?
No, we got a lot of great stuff here. Don't worry.
She then went on to say the real reason why she hadn't been on the show before.
No, because I thought that I would never want to do this show with you.
Now why? Now let's explore this a little. Why? Because you thought I was
an ass.
Now, if there's a talk show host who deserves to get destroyed by a celebrity live TV is Ellen DeGeneres, and Dakota Johnson got to do just that as a revenge for previously humiliated on the show. You see, Ellen is widely known for always trying to pull off intrusive techniques to try and make her guests seem more vulnerable. From playing pranks based on their biggest fears, to asking wildly inappropriate questions, it's no wonder why she came to be one of the least likable talk show hosts ever. But for the second time Dakota appeared on the show, she took it as an opportunity to get back at Ellen and destroy her in front of thousands of people, taking advantage of the fact that she wanted to be invited to her birthday.
And how was the party? I wasn't invited.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Last time I was on the show, last year, you gave me a bunch about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited.
Well, who doesn't want to be invited to a party?
Well, I didn't even know you liked me.
Of course I like you. You knew I liked you.
She even made sure that her whole team was aware of the invitation to make her look even worse. And speaking of celebrities breaking down, one singer went on at the president during a charity event, and a comedian destroyed a talk show set. So click this video to see 10 times celebrities lost it on live TV.